It's at 5 right now.
And we begin with breaking news in the Northland. News Chopper 9 above the scene of a school bus crash.
Johnny Rollins at 210 and 291 highway. Johnny.
Yeah, it's going to be on the northeast side, actually, south of Liberty. This might be the city limits of Liberty, very close, south of 210 highway. This out of the northbound lanes of 291 highway. You see the school bus at the top of the screen, the car to the right, both with front end damage. This was a head-on crash northbound on 291 highway. We don't know if one of the cars, if the car came out of the southbound lanes, crossover into the northbound lanes, but it is obviously a head-on crash. Having said that, we do not have any evidence that any of the kids, at least that we're seeing here, have been injured. You see those kids sitting on it looks like a sheet they may have put down. That was, we believe, just for their comfort, to keep their clothes clean, as none of those kids have been worked on by paramedics. Earlier, we thought we saw one of the students that was on this bus perhaps being worked on, but that turned out not to be the case. Ambulance on the scene. We have not seen anybody being placed in that ambulance. 2 ambulances, as a matter of fact, fire equipment as well. It looks like the students exited the back of the bus here, and it appears as though that evacuation was successful. Northbound 291 highway remains shut down, but they're actually sending them to the off-ramp down to 210 highway, where they could just turn back around and go northbound, continuing from 210 highway to northbound 291. Wellington Napoleon Rural School, we believe, is where this school bus came from. Johnny Rollins, News Chopper 9, back down to you.
Thank you, Johnny. Even more breaking news tonight, this time in Blue Springs, a bus catching fire in a neighborhood.
That bus in the area of Cumberland Drive and Ridge Creek. The district says students were on the bus at the time, but everyone made it out safely. Turning to First Alert, the fire danger extremely high tonight. This after numerous grass fires across the metro today. Burn bans in place for many communities on both sides of the state line. Wind and high temperatures ramping up the concern for more fires.
Yeah, First Alert Chief Meteorologist Brian Busby here. Brian, we are counting down the days so we get some precipitation.
It would be nice to get it very soon, but I think we have to wait at least until the early portion of next week. So as you see here, traffic showing you dry stuff, and it is very dry looking at the vegetation on either side of I-35 out in Johnson County. We're at 71 with cloudy skies. Southwest winds at 60. Here's some good news. I just saw this. This just popped up. These are the current conditions from KCI. Notice how the gust line is no longer having or showing a gust, which means hopefully the winds will continue to die down, and hopefully that will allow this burn ban to be allowed to expire or lift. Our temperatures continuing out of the south and southwest, close to 70 degrees, winds every bit of 10 to 15 miles per hour, but not quite as strong as they were earlier. We still have the red flag warning out, so excessive heat and that gusty wind is causing fires to be a problem, at least for the next few hours. A little improvement tomorrow because the wind should stay fairly light compared to where they were earlier today. Stephen.
Area firefighters have been busy fighting brush and grass fires all day long, using all kinds of methods to get the job done.
Peggy Bright joins us live. And Peggy, you've got an example.
Well, that's right, Haley. An example where trying to prevent more scorched earth areas like this, firefighters actually set a fire. In southern Johnson County, a farmland burn that started in brush piles 9 days ago whipped out of control first yesterday, then again today.
200 gallons.
Firefighters used water in some areas to try to contain the blaze, then moved on to another tactic.
And we've got a bulldozer working on the north end right now cutting fire lines.
The bulldozer made a trench to provide the fire with a path of travel.
And it's burned out to the north of us. So once we get this area to burn up, then everything's burnt, fuel's gone, fire will go out.
The fire did just what firefighters expected, consuming everything left of the dry grass and brush in this field. Firefighters satisfied tonight their work, at least here, is done.
Just let the fire go to the burned area so that we can control it where it's going to go.
Now, that was a controlled, legally permitted burn to begin with, but firefighters say most of the fires they're battling right now are started by cigarettes. We'll tell you some of the hazards of those fires coming up on our news at 6. We're live in Johnson County. Stephen?
No buildings were reached in that blaze. Those fires on the Missouri side of the state line as well. News Chopper 9 caught firefighters putting out flames at 435 and Gregory around 1 this afternoon. Police departments across the metro will be cracking down. Tossing a cigarette is one of the worst things you could do do today. You heard Peggy say it a moment ago. If police see you do it, you could get a ticket. If you don't smoke, be careful grilling or mowing your yard.
Wind is to blame for a partial building collapse in the historic 18th and Vine Jazz District. A wall of a one-story building on a renovation fell down. No one was injured. Most of the bricks fell in an empty parking lot. The city is watching closely to make sure the rest of the building is structurally secure.
The Blue Valley community coming together to honor their beloved football and track coach.
This weekend, a celebration of life will be held for Eric Driscoll, who passed away after suffering a brain aneurysm Sunday. The service held Saturday at the Church of the Resurrection in Leawood. Family asking those attending to wear their Tiger gear.
The Blue Valley Touchdown Club is also selling these t-shirts benefiting the Driscoll family. You're welcome to stop by the Blue Valley Stadium on Friday from 3 until 5 if you'd like to buy one.
Lawrence police looking for a group of Good Samaritans tonight. Officers and those bystanders helped a suicidal woman off a bridge. Chris Hess joining us tonight. Chris, this was all caught on a police dash cam?
It sure was. This video here of people on the Kansas River Bridge, they're trying to save a woman who wanted to take her own life.
Hey, we're here to help you, okay? Come on. Come on, we're not gonna let go. Come on over here on this side. Yeah. Grab that arm. Yep. Let's pull her over, okay? Come on, come on. We're here to help you, okay?
This video from a Lawrence police vehicle, the woman clinging to a bridge railing. Officer Leo Souders, a 19-year veteran, held onto the woman as another officer and a citizen pulled her to safety. Police now want to thank the people who stopped to help. If that was you or someone you know, call Lawrence Police. Stephen?
The University of Kansas stepping up security. The Office of Public Safety adding 6 new positions plus equipment in response to concealed carry on campus. The office adding 3 sworn police officers to increase patrols in busy areas of campus, 4 portable metal detectors, and 3 security officers to man them. The new law requires state universities to allow concealed handguns on their campuses beginning July 1st. Separately, KU Athletics is planning to deploy metal detectors to keep guns out of men's basketball and football games. KU Athletics is funding its own security measures to the tune of roughly $1 million. The metal detectors would be at Allen Fieldhouse, the football stadium, and also the track.
Today declared a day without immigrants by pro-immigration advocates. The idea spread on social media. Immigrants across the country staying home from school and work, some businesses even closing shop. The protest organizers hoping to show how important immigrants are to the nation's economy and the American way of life.
We want to let them know that we're not criminals, we're workers. We support our country.
And that same theme was dominant in Kansas City today, where many businesses also took part in that rally. Michael Mahoney was there. Michael, what'd you find?
Well, we found out that the Superior Concrete Shipping Company, Miguel Camacho owns this, closed for the day so that they could go down to the big rally at the City Hall steps. There were several hundred people for a rally that lasted a couple of hours.
I'm down here to prove to Trump that we are united. We are here to make America great.
Gloria Jaimes helped organize the local A Day Without Immigrants movement. A number of restaurants and other businesses closed their doors for the day.
We're trying to prove that a day without immigrants can be a loss into the U.S.
Come on, people, come on! There was a second point here as well. Last Sunday, rumors rolled through Kansas City that immigration agents were going to arrest undocumented illegals after church. It didn't happen, but it was scary to some, so there's some organizing underway here.
We're trying to build a network of community members who are actively on the lookout for any suspicious activity from ICE or from the police.
No trouble at this rally today. Very big rally, several hundred people there. The real sense, though, that this may not be the last one of these in Kansas City. Haley?
Today, President Donald Trump's administration says it does not want a larger appellate panel to review a ruling keeping its travel ban on hold. It will instead revise the ban. Organizers behind January's Women's March on Washington are planning a new protest. Women across the country are expected to join a general strike called A Day Without a Woman. The strike is set for Wednesday, March 8th, which is also International Women's Day.
Today in Topeka, a plan that rolls back tax policies long defended by Governor Sam Brownback is one step closer to becoming law. The Kansas House voted 76-48 to pass income tax increases and end a tax exemption for hundreds of thousands of business owners. Brownback has said he's against the tax increases and will not sign the bill. The bill now heads to the Kansas Senate.
Kansas Governor Sam Brownback telling the New York Times the Justice Department has intercepted phone conversations between his office and a former senator. The news comes on the heels of a report that Brandon Stephen, who owns Lee's Summit Mazda, is being investigated by federal officials for his ties to high-stakes poker and an effort to develop a casino in Kansas. Federal officials intercepted several phone calls with Stephen between 2015 and conducted multiple searches. No charges have been filed.
A Wichita oil man entering next year's Kansas gubernatorial race.
Wink Hartman has announced that he is starting a campaign for the Republican nomination. Hartman is an oil industry business owner and GOP donor. He ran for Congress in 2010, but lost to Mike Pompeo, who has since been appointed CIA director.
In January, Kansas Secretary of State Chris Kobach stated he's also considering a run for governor. Other Kansans contemplating runs: Kansas Attorney General Derek Schmidt and Representative Kevin Yoder.
President Trump has named a new nominee for Labor Secretary. Alexander Acosta is a law school dean and former member of the National Labor Relations Board. If confirmed, Acosta would become the first Hispanic member of the president's cabinet. The president followed the announcement with an hour-long news conference where he lashed out at the media and defended his presidency.
This administration is running like a fine-tuned machine.
The president says a tax reform package will likely be unveiled next month and says a replacement for Obamacare is in the final stages.
Lawmakers in Kansas looking at ways to protect kids in daycare. A proposed bill would strengthen laws and encourage safe sleeping practices. The main points: no loose or soft bedding in areas where infants sleep, and no toys or educational devices in infant sleeping areas. Tonight, we're checking in on a little girl from Gardner, Kansas.
The last time we saw this 2-year-old, Sawyer, it was on Inside Pediatrics, and she was waiting for a heart transplant. She waited more than a year for a new heart at Children's Mercy. Her heart was deformed, and her mother says without the surgery, Sawyer wouldn't be here today.
Every single day I tell my husband, I tell him, you know, we're going to miss this. You know, we get frustrated. They're toddler, they're making a mess. I just clean something up and then they go make another one. Or she's 3. She's got that, almost 3. She's got that attitude. Oh, Sawyer's just being difficult today. But then I have to remind myself we're going to miss this one day. This, you know, look how far we've come. This might never happen. And I'll take it.
And as Mom said, she's almost 3 years old and very happy, but there is more to this story than Sawyer's recovery. Her mom has a message for all parents. KMBC 9's Rachel Sanchi has that story for you tonight at 10.
And we continue to follow breaking news: a crash involving a car and a school bus in Liberty, Missouri. You're looking at 291 and 210 highway. We do know northbound 291 is shut down. The crash impact sent the bus into the ditch. You can see students are still waiting around on the bus after walking around. Updates from Johnny Rollins in just 2 minutes.
We have a lot of burn bans to talk about. Individual communities who make that decision for their own jurisdiction by the fire marshals in those communities. We'll give you the list one more time, let you know exactly how long these winds stay up, coming up in just a few minutes.
We are back live at News Chopper 9, looking at northbound 291 highway. Hard to imagine someone wasn't hurt in this vehicle that was involved in an accident with a school bus. We have not heard any official reports of injuries. We can tell you that it does not appear as though, well, we don't know if there were any kids hurt on the bus, but the kids standing around here appeared to be okay. It looks like they exited the bus from the northbound lanes here as it ended up in the median. Heavy damage to the front of the bus, to the front of the car. This appears to be perhaps a crossover accident from southbound 291 to northbound 291. Head-on crash with this school bus. This just south of 210 highway, rerouting traffic to the off-ramp there you see to the right, and that is working relatively well. Looks like maybe a 10-minute delay for these folks down to 210 highway, then back on to northbound 291 from 210. Kids still probably waiting to be transported from another bus here. We haven't seen one in sight yet. Johnny Rollins, News Chopper 9, back to you in the studio.
Thank you very much, Johnny. Well, News Chopper 9 and Johnny Rollins capturing this video last night at 5 along I-35 in Miriam. A sinkhole opened up near Shawnee Mission Medical Center. Kim Qualls from KDOT saying there is no threat to drivers in that area. I-35 is protected by a retaining wall. KDOT engineers are working to fix that issue. Detours continue for drivers in southeast Kansas City for a second night in a row. Crews will have to work overnight to repair the street near 63rd in Winchester. It was damaged last night after a water main break.
The World War I memorial is getting a makeover. All 9,000 poppies are being replaced. The poppies represent soldiers who died in the war. Work is going on right now. Tomorrow morning on First News at 6, we will give you an exclusive look at the new poppy exhibit and what the museum plans to do with the old flowers.
The planetarium at the Union Station getting a facelift. It will reopen this weekend after renovations. There's a new space portal as you walk in, along with new seating, a new sound system, and new 4K video projection. There are 2 new shows, including The Phantom of the Universe and All Ages production.
9 can help. If you or your teenager is looking for a part-time job this summer, Worlds of Fun could be an option. The theme park is holding a job fair this weekend, February 18th at Union Station. It runs from noon to 4.
Kansas City experiencing a boom in sporting events next month. The city hosting tournaments for the Mid-America Intercollegiate Athletics Association, the Big 12 Conference, and the NCAA Men's Regional. The city hosting its first Sweet 16 and Elite 8 games since 1995. Sports will generate $25 million for Kansas City in the month of March. Speaking of, tickets now on sale for the Big 12 men's basketball tournament. They're only being sold online at sprintcenter.com. The tournament runs March 8th through the 11th.
The NCAA basketball tournament steeped in tradition, but one tradition will not continue this year. President Donald Trump will not pick brackets for the 2017 men's and women's tournaments. The presidential brackets became a tradition in recent years when former President Barack Obama, an avid basketball fan, agreed to fill them out and discussed his picks on SportsCenter. The official baseball season has not yet started, but some Royals players will soon be on the global stage.
Len Jennings is in Surprise, Arizona at spring training. Len.
Stephen and Haley, the pitchers and catchers wrapped up another day of workouts. The first full squad workout is tomorrow, but the World Baseball Classic is next month, and it's an international competition. And many Major League Baseball players, the stars, are opting not to play in this competition because it interferes with spring training, but not the Kansas City Royals. A couple of Royals players are proud to play in this. Eric Hosmer, Danny Duffy, they're going to play for Team USA. Salvador Perez is going to play for his home country, Team Venezuela, along with Alcides Escobar. But the head scratcher is Drew Butera. He's going to be playing for Team Italy. We asked him what this about. He's not from Italy, but he says his grandparents came here from Italy, and all you have to do to play on this team is to prove heritage. He has the heritage. So I kind of asked him if he's proud to play, and he said, yep, he's very proud to represent Team Italy.
Do you know any Italian?
No.
No.
You like line say yes. I wish I did, but no, not really.
You like Italian food?
I love Italian food, yeah.
Okay.
Anytime you have the chance to wear USA on your chest, it's a no-brainer.
We kind of take it for granted because we play in the big leagues, but playing in a world tournament for your country is really, really special.
Now, the Kansas City Royals are expected to play an exhibition game against Team Venezuela. So we have Salvador Perez. Who's he going to play for during that game? He said he's going to play for his home country, Team Venezuela. He may be the only catcher on that team. So coming up on KMBC 9 News at 6 o'clock, Alex Gordon's workouts are legendary. Well, he actually invited a couple Royals players along, so we talked to them. That's coming up at 6.
You know, looking at the sun on Len's face there, I just got to wonder, is it warmer in Arizona or here in Kansas City today?
I'm going to guess even.
I just looked it up.
You did?
72 degrees out there.
Uh-huh.
So we're not quite there.
Oh, darn. Maybe
Close.
next week, the way the weather's been going.
We'll make it a team effort there. But unfortunately, with that warmer air goes a fire danger because of the winds. If it was just as warm and we had some rain, that would help. But we're about 25 degrees above the norm and probably going to stay in that same vicinity. But we do have a glimmer of hope with the next rain chance, and you'll see that addressed in the 7-day forecast. Once again, the long list from Sugar Creek to Independence, Merriam, Overland Park, Fairway and Mission, complementing Mission Hills, Mission Woods, Prairie Village, Roland Park, Westwood and Westwood Hills, still under that burn ban or the red flag warning for tonight. And a lot of other counties are as well. But looking at traffic right now going fine because we don't have any sort of obstruction, with the exception of the dry conditions on either side of the road. But as mentioned, we're close to it. 70, 71 degrees. There's 72. We're at 71. So very close. Southwest winds at 16. No more gusts. Let's hope it stays that way with those winds continuing to die down. 60s and 70s all across the metro. 69 Blue Springs, 73 in Leavenworth, DeSoto 71. Here are the wind speeds still clocking in at double digits from Excelsior back to Kansas City, back toward Lawrence, and even including Olathe with that southwest breeze. Then the low humidity. I mean, usually expect 40, 50. I mean, this is even lower than what you keep your house at, you know? That's why I have that static electricity buildup when it's this low. 18% in Cameron, 22% in Paola, 24% in Olathe. Combine those two fields of data together, it spells out where the fire weather is at its greatest, and that's about where the National Weather Service has put that red flag warning out. We'll just call it in plain English, high fire danger, mainly from Kansas City farther south, because those temperatures are going to fall back into the 60s eventually. Wind gusts coming down a little bit, so maybe in the next hour or two, this may be lifted. Grass fires spreading quickly. But if the winds die down, that should not be as big an issue. Let's hope so. Temperatures will drop through those 60s before too much longer. Later on tonight, 55 by 9, and when we talk again on KMBC 9 News at 10, temperature 54 degrees. That's about 10 degrees warmer than it should be during the day. So here are the low temperatures. This is about what our highs would be. 45 in Shawnee, 42 in Olathe, 44 degrees in Liberty. Notice the winds coming in from the south and southwest, but they will die down, so not quite as strong as they were earlier today. And then high temperatures across the entire region, 60s and 70s, but let's zoom in on specifically what's happening in and around the metro. I think upper 60s to near 70 degrees no matter which way you travel from downtown. 67 for Lee Summit, 66 degrees in Olathe, about the same in Liberty is what we're expecting. Look at that hour by hour forecast. As the days are getting longer, look at that, sun setting a little before 6 o'clock. 48 in the morning, winds not quite as strong, only about 8 to 15 miles per hour. Lots of golden sunshine, warming up. Those numbers should be reversed. 59 at noon, 69 by 2 p.m., ending up with a high close to 70 degrees during the afternoon hours. Another picture-perfect day if you like warm weather, but as mentioned at the beginning of our newscast and the beginning of this weather report, there is a good chance of some rain within the 7-day forecast. Here it is for you. 48 to 68 degrees on Saturday, 49 to 70 on Sunday, and this could come very close to a record, although we were about 3 or 4 degrees away from it today. 53 to 66 degrees on Monday. Here comes our best chance of rain, a couple of thunderstorms too, scattered in the morning, giving way to sunshine, 64, 48 to 65 on Wednesday, and remains mild on Thursday, but dry once again, so we could be setting up for another bout of fairly drab but dry weather. KBC 9 News at 5 o'clock returns after this.
We continue following breaking news in the Northland. News Chopper 9 above the scene of a school bus accident.
Johnny Rollins at 210 and 291 Highway. Johnny.
Yeah, northbound 291. There's the school bus that is now departing with the students that were on the other school bus that's damaged. There's the tow truck with the car that was damaged as well. This is a head-on crash northbound 291 highway at 210. You see heavy damage to that vehicle, heavy damage to the front of the bus as well. From what we understand so far, perhaps no injuries to any of the kids on the bus. Don't know about who was driving that car, but a high-impact crash here. Still northbound 291 being rerouted down to 210 highway, back onto 291. It's about a 15-20 minute drive time delay. Johnny Rollins, News Chopper 9. We'll be back right after this.
Two breaking stories involving school buses, one catching fire in Blue Springs. We have video just in from one of our viewers. Right now we're talking to a student who was on board as the fire began. You'll hear from her at 6. More live pictures over a school bus crash in Clay County. The bus carrying students from Wellington Napoleon High School east of Kansas City. No serious injuries. Live updates on KMBC 9 News at 6.
And next on World News, a product so many parents depend on being recalled tonight. Britax recalling 500,000 strollers after a dozen kids were hurt. The reason behind the recall coming up next.